I just wanted to make a quick build guide, right? Like just uh, telling you everything that I did to get to level 100, and then how I beat Lilith and the build I used, right? So let's just start. Um, so, and I'll have the planner in the comment section, right? But let's just start with the build, right? So when you first get to World Tier 2, right? Let's start there. The only thing you want to be doing in World Tier 2 is you want to be doing the seasonal quest, right? And you want to be doing the blood harvest. That's the only thing you want to do in World Tier 2. You don't want to do anything else. You're going to do that all the way up until you hit level 25. Or is it level 15? I think it's level 15, right? I think you unlock these at level 15. Whatever one you unlock these at, you're going to unlock it at level 15, right? You're going to go do that, wherever that's out on the map. You can pick any one of these. I mean, I'll just stick with combo points. I think it's the best, right? Then you're going to go back to just doing blood harvest. That's all you're going to do, right? Then after you do blood harvest and you reach level 25, that's when you're going to go out and you're going to go to the dungeons that have the aspects that you need, right? So you use your shadow robe. You just farm up, like I said. Now, when you come here, I'm going to show you what you're going to do, right? Because it's very, very simple. Like, if don't do the little tunnel method that everyone does. You can do that if you want, but I think this is the best way because you're going to get the most loot this way, right? So you're going to come here. The first thing you're going to prioritize is trying to do the whispers. You always want to do the whispers, and the reason being, when you first start out, the whispers are going to be such a huge boost to your money. Like, you can get like 4 million. I've gotten 12 million max, and I think the lowest I've gotten is 2 million, right? So you definitely want to be doing the whispers, and then from there, once you get those done, you're just going to keep farming until this goes away, right? Now, in terms of gear, all the gear that you get, just salvage. Do not sell any gear. You don't need to. You don't need to sell any gear. Like I said, the whispers is going to be your primary form of currency. That's how you're going to make all your money. Like, as you can see here, I have 55 million. I mean, if I didn't ever re-roll anything, I probably have like a billion, right? And I haven't sold anything. I don't think I've sold anything yet. I've just always salvaged. That's all I do. So yeah, so World Tier 2, just to recap, sorry. Levels 1 through 15, you're going to live in here, right? Once you hit 15, you're going to go ahead and get your specialization, right? Then when you hit 25, you're going to start to get the aspects that you need, right? And in the planner, majority of the aspects that you're going to want, you can get from the codex, right? So I think there's only like 1 or 2 that you have to find on the ground, so that's good. And again, that will be in the planner. And once you hit 25, you're going to stay in here until you hit about level 35, 40, and then you're going to test out the Cathedral of Light. Now, if you go at level 35 or 40, right, and you feel like you're struggling a little bit, is what I want you to do. I want you to go to any place, and I want you to upgrade your armor to the max, or to whatever the max is, and then try it again and see if you can beat it. And then if you can't, just come back here and level up, right? So once you have done that, you're going to go to World Tier 3. Now in World Tier 3, you're still going to be doing the blood harvest, right? But the only difference between this and World Tier 2 is that in World Tier 3, you're going to have Hell Tides. Now, when the Hell Tides pop up, you're going to take a break from this, and you're going to go do the Hell Tide, right? Now, when you do the Hell Tide, right, you do not want to touch the 250 chests. Don't touch the 250 chests. You only want the 300 chests that give you the materials for the Uber bosses. Essentially, the foundation for how this works is, in the beginning, you're going to be getting so much loot and so much materials that once you get to World Tier 4, you'll have enough materials to start farming some of the Uber bosses once you get strong enough to fight them. And then you can start getting your uniques. And then once you get your uniques, you can transfer over to Frost Rogue. Because that's what you want to do, essentially. You want to transfer over to Frost Rogue as soon as possible. And the only way you're going to be able to do that is if you get Penitent Greaves, which is one of the Uber bosses. And yeah, I'll touch on that in a sec. But yeah, it's one of the Uber bosses. And so yeah, that's what you're going to do. To get Condemnation, which is the unique that I use, you're going to fight Varshan here at the Tree of Whispers. The way you get the materials from him to fight him is just by doing Tree of Whispers, right? Then, once you get the materials for that, you're going to want to head over to so this is what's going to happen, right? So you're going to have farm this up. You're going to keep getting mats from this. You're going to take breaks and go into Hell Tides, right? You're going to do Hell Tides, and you're going to get something called, I don't know if I have any on me. Let me see. You're going to get, I don't have it on me, but it's like this steel stuff, something steel, right? And you're going to get those. Okay. So you're going to go to the Hall of Penitent, right? This is where you're going to fight the electricity dude, right? You beat him, and he has a chance to drop your Penitent Greaves, right? So that's how you get your Penitent Greaves. So remember, Tree of Whispers drops the Varshan drops Condemnation, electricity dude drops Penitent Greaves. Once you get that, you can swap over to the Frost build, and then you're good to go. Okay, now that we got the leveling out the way, right? Now we're going to talk about the Frost Road, right? So, first things first, I posted a video of me clearing Lilith, and it skipped all the mechanics, right? If you want to be able to skip all the mechanics and not have to do a single one, you're going to need to get T-Bolt's Will. And the way you get T-Bolt's Will is by fighting Duriel, right? He has a chance to drop that. Do you need T-Bolt's Will? No. You're gonna see after this dungeon run, you're gonna see me I after I beat her, I went and fought her again without T-Bolt's Will, and I cleared her again. And like, you have to do minimal mechanics, like, I mean, very, very minimal. And I can easily make a guide on how to beat the mechanics, because they're really easy. Once you get used to them, they're really easy, right? um but in this video, right, I'm gonna quickly show you the affixes, right? So it's nudge and invade. Empowered elites they have poison. They do bleeding. So this is double damage over time. They even have 30% maximum life, and the duration of vulnerable effects against monsters is reduced by 60%. Now this doesn't really affect you because you have the vampiric powers, right? But I just thought I'd touch on that real quick. Yeah. And the reason why I chose this tier 100 is because I wanted to show you that you don't need T-Bolt's Will. I don't even recommend you use T-Bolt's Wills for dungeons, because you're just going to lose so much damage reduction. If your goal is to do a bunch of tier 100s, don't use T-Bolt's Will. T-Bolt's Will is good from like 75, maybe even 80, but then after that it starts falling off because you just start taking so much more damage. Now, I could be wrong on that, and the only reason why I say that is because on my amulet, I'm missing 2 defensive stats that I would prefer to have, right? And so because of that, there's a possibility that maybe you could get away with it, um, because you'll have those extra 2 defensive stats that I'm missing, right? So, and also in this gameplay, right, I'm not speed farming. I'm intentionally trying to kill every single enemy, so you can see that even with um the lack of defensive aspects on my amulet, I'm still able to survive. Like, I'm trying to take as much damage as I can without dying. I don't die in this run, right? But I'm literally trying to fight everything that I can, just to show you like the build is solid defensively, and that's even without the defenses that I'm missing, right? And you can even do events. Like, I even did this event just to show you that you can even do events, right? Now you may be wondering, how am I surviving, right? Because as you can see, my health is dipping like crazy, right? So the secret to this build is the max attack speed, right? Offense is your best defense with this build, right? Now, what do I mean by that? So we're using the vampiric power where you get 40% of your total movement speed, right? So I did my best to cap my movement speed, and the way I was able to cap my movement speed is by having ghost walkers and going unstoppable. Every time I go unstoppable, we're at the movement speed cap, and we get 80% attack speed. And then we have accelerating aspect on the crossbow, which gives us 50, so that's 130. and then we're using close quarters combat for an extra 20. So we're at the cap. Um, we're at the cap of attack speed. I believe it's 150, right? Now, that still may not be making sense to you. So let me explain how I'm able to survive, right? The reason why I'm able to survive is because of the fast attack speed. Remember, offense is your best defense, and because we're using siphoning strikes with um, the vampiric power undying. So essentially, we're getting a constant 3% healing every time we attack and cast a skill. And then if we're lucky and we get our lucky hit to proc on siphoning strikes, we're getting 6% healing, right? Now remember, if you're half health, undying doubles. So best case scenario, you're getting almost 10% healing just by attacking. And because we have such fast attack speed, like the enemies cannot do enough damage to kill us essentially. Now, you can die. Like I'm not going to sit here and say, every single dungeon tier 100 is going to be easy breezy. Every single 85 and below is going to be easy breezy. Even 90s will be easy breezy for the most part. But 100, some of them you're going to have to duck. Now, that could just be a skill issue on my end because I don't really think I'm that good, right? I kind of play like a bot. And it also could be because I'm missing those defensive stats that I mentioned earlier. So, you know, if you're trying to speed farm, I mean, not speed farm, sorry, if you're trying to attack things, right? Essentially, all you're doing is you're just dashing through enemies, um, so that way you can get those accursed souls to pop out, right? And also so you can chill them. You're using your stun grenade because the way the stun grenade works is because we have frostbitten aspect. Whenever we chill an enemy, we have a chance to freeze them. As you're going to see here, I'm going to freeze them, and we do almost like 80 multiplicative damage, 80% multiplicative damage to frozen enemies, right? So we do a ton of damage to frozen enemies, and we do like maybe like half of that to chilled enemies, right? Um, Another thing you're going to be doing is you're going to be going unstoppable a lot, and the reason why you want to go unstoppable a lot is you want to get that max attack speed. So you might be wondering, how can you maximize your unstoppable? Well, we're using the vampiric power that allows us to go unstoppable when we evade. So now we have two ways to go unstoppable, and essentially with this build you will be perma unstoppable. Now there is a skill on the skill tree that allows you to reduce your evade every time you daze an enemy. I don't know if that's working correctly because when I throw my stun grenade, it dazes people, and sometimes that cooldown does not drop. I mean, maybe I'm just like botting out and I just don't notice it, but essentially the cooldown on your dodge is 5 seconds, and you are unstoppable for 4 seconds. So there's a 1 second gap where you're not unstoppable. And ideally, I mean, we have the twisting blades that dazes people, so we're always dazing people, but yet I always have that 1 second gap when I'm not unstoppable. So I don't get it. I don't know if it's working correctly. But yeah, that's just a heads up, right? But for the most part, you'll be unstoppable. And when you're unstoppable, you have ghost walkers, so you get that attack speed. If you are not interested in ghost walkers, right, and you want to be more tanky, then I would say go momentum. So that way you keep some of that attack speed that you're going to lose from not using ghost walkers. And then you can keep some of that attack speed. And then you're going to go swap out ghost walkers for disobedience. So that way you can just have a ton of armor, right? But yeah, I'm trying to think, is there anything else? Um, what else? Oh yeah, so let's talk about T-Bolt's will, right? Because I mean, for the most part, farming uniques is pretty easy, but maybe some people don't want to do it. Again, T-Bolt's will is just the cherry on top on this build. You don't need it. I literally, the first time I ever used it was when I fought Lilith today. I have not used it at all. I was mainly going to use it for my druid. But yeah, and like I said, if you're going to use it, you're gonna do insane damage, but you're gonna be a little weaker. So I don't recommend using it on tier 100s, unless you're just a god. Maybe you can get away with it, right? Um, but one thing you can do to kind of cheese like bosses and stuff, if you want to do tier 100s, right? Just swap to it right before you fight the boss. And I even show you right before I fight the boss that if I wanted to, I could just swap to it, right? But I don't, because I just want to show you what the damage is like without me swapping to it, right? Now the thing is with this damage, I didn't play the best, and there are ways to do better form of damage, and you also have to remember they have the 30% max life. So I mean, you gotta think about it, right? Like this run maybe took like 9 minutes, right? Which is pretty good considering the context that all these enemies have an additional 30% life, right? And on top of that, I'm intentionally trying to fight everything that I can, right? So yeah. So as you can see, once you stagger an enemy, you will just melt them, right? And then here, I was just trying to, I started playing a little scared, and that's the reason why I didn't finish it, because I really didn't want to die in this run. Like, I really wanted to just not die, so that's the reason why it took a little long there. And another thing, look at this. I don't even have all my glyphs max. I only have 3 of them max. Like, the build is very good, and part of that is they made the content so easy. But yeah, and here's just to show you, I'm not using T-Bolt's Will, and I'm using the exact same gear that I would be using against Lilith. You literally don't have to change anything in the build to fight Lilith. The only thing that you'd be changing, and again, it's just optional, is you just throw T-Bolt's Will on top. Paragon board stays exactly the same. You don't need to change anything in the Paragon board. The Paragon board is set. You're going to be using Prey on the Weak. You're going to use a Curse Touch. You're going to use Undying. You're going to use Ravenous. And you're going to use Metamorphosis. All right. And now for the sake of this video, right? Again, I just want to just letting it play in the background. I'm just showing you that even without T-Bolt's Will, this fight took 3 minutes, right? Like, you still do an insane amount of damage. You do have to do some of the mechanics. And again, if enough people see this, and they want to do the mechanics, right? Because this is the best time to do Lilith and learn the mechanics, because she's so easy right now, right? But then again, I guess it also isn't that good, because if your build does so much damage, you're gonna skip a lot of the mechanics. And there are a lot of bugs, just like in season 1, because our builds are kind of like a little too strong, or maybe the content's too easy. You can glitch out Lilith if you do too much damage too fast. But I'll talk about that in if I end up making a guide on how to beat Lilith, right? But yeah, as you can see here, you're just doing barely doing any mechanics. Like, it's all very, very easy. The mechanics are quick. And again, at the end of this video, I'm going to show you I'm not using T-Bolt's Will here. Again, like I said, not using T-Bolt's Will. You don't need it. T-Bolt's Will is just the cherry on top if you want to skip all the mechanics, right? I think that's pretty much it. I'll probably just let it run out, because I can't really. Oh, no. Actually, I want to touch on some things, right? So I kind of lied when I said you don't have to change anything for Lilith. I forgot there is one thing that you're going to change, and it's 100% optional, because the build does so much damage you don't need to do it. But I swap out the vampiric power, where it spreads the curse, right? I took that one out and I swapped it for terror. And what terror does, it gives you a chance to fear enemies, so that kind of helps with your stagger, even though you don't really need it, right? And then the main purpose of terror is that whenever whenever an enemy is feared, you're guaranteed crits. And so anytime Lilith is staggered, we're guaranteed crits. And that's when you're going to see here that you're just going to do a ton of damage. And I even mess up on this damage phase because I couldn't get to her, because I was like slowed a little bit. But just look at that, like, and I also I also had to stop damaging her there, because if you get her to like where she's like one shot, she'll bug out and she'll go to the last platform, and on the last platform she'll completely cover it in fire, and then she'll also do the scream at the same time, and you'll have nowhere to go and you'll just die. So that's just a heads up, right? But at this part you're good. You're good to go. Yep, and you just want to go invis here, so that way she doesn't do her scream, and you have enough time to kill her before she does her scream. Because if she does her scream, she can still kill you even though she's technically dead. So that's just another heads up, right? So yeah, like I said, I just I ran this thing just to show you again. Yeah, I didn't need T-Bolt's Will to beat her. It's literally the same exact build. I didn't change anything. After I beat the dungeon, I just hopped right into this. Same exact thing. And then yeah, that's it. Peace.